What is up, guys? Hello and welcome. This is Neldrin, and today we will be talking about how to build your fleet. But before that, for our question of the day. Which faction is your favorite and why? Mine is the Royal Navy. I just love how classy and how British they are. Especially those maid-themed ships. Yes, I'm looking at you, Belfast and Neptune. Now before we start, please be reminded that these are my opinions and nothing is set on stone. You can use my advice to help you decide on building your fleet. Also, take note, if you are a beginner, do not waste too much of your cubes to get in specific ship. Also, do not stress yourself on getting a certain ship on one map. I know they are strong, but they are not really worth it, considering you will be getting stronger ships as you play along and re-roll each day. I mean, you have daily quests to build one ship each day. During major events you are tasked to build at least 3 ships daily. You have higher chances of getting great ships. From stage 1 to stage 8, you can finish these maps with overly leveled ships. Regardless of which composition you have, you can get away by using high level, yes, you heard it right, high leveled ships. Challenges will arise once you are at stage 9 and fleet building will be necessary. If you already did some research, I know some of you already heard of Mob and Boss Fleet and why they are efficient. For those who heard it first time, Mob Fleet will be battling most of the fleets in the entire map to spawn the enemy Boss Fleet. The Boss Fleet will only have one battle, and it is to battle the boss. Sustain is the key for Mob Fleet and high damage is for the Boss Fleet. Your Mob Fleet should be able to withstand 6 to 7 battles, better if it can sustain 10 to 12 battles, considering if there are ambush fleets and if you are targeting the 3 stars in the map. Your Boss Fleet should be able to burst your enemies, especially at later stages when there are 2 strong ships acting as a shield to the boss. You might ask, how should I start building my fleet? Since there are way too many possible combinations that you can do, it might be intimidating at first. But it is really easy once you get a hang of it. I will give you my sample fleets and I will discuss my reasons on building it that way. First thing you want to do is to pick 1 or 2 ships. From them, you can build your fleet using synergies and remembering what I mentioned. What is the key from Mob and Boss Fleet? You will have some guide on which ship to pick. Let's start building a Mob Fleet. I want to use Queen Elizabeth. Since she has a buff to all HMS ships, I will be picking Royal Navy ships only from this point to maximize this skill. Since Queen Elizabeth does not have a barrage, I might lack on damage. I will be picking Hood for this since she has a strong barrage. Her barrage is position specific, so it will be best to put her at the middle position. Now I need some aircraft carrier. I can use Centaur since she is so strong. But since my goal is to make a mob fleet, Sustain is what I needed. Unicorn is one of the best healers you can obtain. Now that my main ships are selected, time for choosing our Vanguard. First, I want a good support in my Vanguard. I will be picking Leander since she is easy to obtain and her firepower buff is really good. I want to maximize her buff, so I will be picking another 2 cruisers. Belfast is one of them and another easy to obtain via metal exchange. For the last slot, if you were lucky and got Sirius or Swiftsa in light construction pool, then put them either of them. If you don't have, you can put any cruisers here. How this will work? Hood will deal most of the damage. Queen Elizabeth will buff all the ships in the fleet. Leander will add additional buff to the Vanguard while Unicorn will heal them and also add buffs to the Vanguard. Belfast and the other cruiser will do the damage while Hood is reloading her main gun. Here is my another British fleet sample, but some of them are event exclusive ships. I will be building a mob fleet using Hoey. Since Hoey needs one of the King George class, I picked King George V. King George's flagship for her barrage, since Hoey does not rely on position for her barrage, and King George needs to be in the middle to fully utilize her barrage. Another requirement I need to fulfill is King George's yellow skill, that she need another 3 or more Royal Navy ship excluding herself. Since I already have Hoey, I need at least 2 more HMS ships. I got Perseus, and she's one good healer for mob fleet. Now for the Vanguard, I want to use Neptune as my tank. I know that some of you might think that I am wasting her blue skill since I have a healer. But mind you, the later levels are difficult enough that I can also use her skill even with Perseus or Unicorn. I will also use London since she is an upgraded version of Leander. For my last slot, I will be using my Sheffield Muse since her buff is great for sustain, which is needed in mob fleet. Wow, that's some oil consumption I have. But don't worry, I play casually so it really doesn't hurt my resource anyway. If I want to save some oil, I just remove some ships or replace someone else. Now how I build my boss fleet. During the Northern Overture event, I luckily got these 4 Russian ships, and men, they are so strong. Since Sovetskaya Rossiya wants 4 Northern Parliament ships including herself, I will be putting my other Russian ships here. Rossiya has barrage that is best in mid-position, so she will be my flagship. Gongat does not have a barrage, so it is safe to put her at the side. Tashkent is a destroyer, so she will be at the middle since she is not tanky. Shapayev will be on my right side, because I will be putting a tank on the left. Now for the carrier, I want great damage like Saratoga. She also buffs the damage of my Vanguard. For the tank, Rune is my best option, so she will be in this slot. Sometimes I am memeing this fleet and putting Enterprise in Portland instead, so that I have a white fleet. Another example of boss fleet is having Monarch as my flagship. I want to put 2 aircraft carriers, because I need some high AoE damage. I will be using Essex and Centaur because both of them have guaranteed additional torpedo bombers. Since Essex have a skill that requires 4 or more Eagle Union ships, including herself, I will be using Eagle Union Vanguards. For the tank, Portland is one of the best non-event exclusive ship. I know you are already expecting Indy in this lineup, but even without her, Portland is strong, especially when you retrofit her. I will be using Helena as my support since her buff is really useful. I just need to do some math to fully utilize her. For the last slot, Sandy is one of the strongest ship you can include since her anti-air is so OP. How this will work? Helena will debuff the enemies. Considering proper timing, the main fleet consisting of Monarch, Essex and Centaur will deal a huge amount of damage. If Helena's skill did not proc, the damage is still strong because of the guaranteed extra torpedo bombers from our aircraft carriers. Also, if you launch Centaur's airstrike first, she will buff both Monarch and Essex for an additional damage. Moving on, there are also special occasions in which you will build your fleet differently. These are Resource Farming Fleet and PREXP Farming Fleet. Resource Farming Fleet is the one you want to spam in 7.2 for coin resource, or if you want to farm a certain ship for later stages. It is usually the 0LB Erebus and Phoenix Fleet, or Erebus, Cassin, and Downs combination. Or Terror instead of Erebus. I don't use these ships since it is a waste of experience points. I usually use the ships I want to level up in this fleet. PREXP Farming Fleet will be discussed thoroughly on my upcoming videos. But the summary is to use the ship required by the PR ship when building it. You will also consider the required faction when building this fleet. Hard mode also offers a different way on setting up your fleet. It will require you some specific ship and an average or total amount of stats before you can proceed to the stage. Before we conclude this guide, if you want some help on your fleet building, feel free to drop by on my comment section. I hope that this guide and my samples helped you on how to build your fleet. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And hit the notification bell. See you on my next guide.